We are very honored to have the esteemed members of the Ombudspersons on Sexual Harassment and Property, the chair of the Sindh chapter of the National Commission on Human Rights, as well as two eminent lawyers from Punjab and Balochistan on our panel today. Many of you may not be aware, and I think have become more aware in the last two and a half to 3 days, is that women's right to property and the issues and challenges of litigation relating to that came into the spotlight several years ago, where the government of that time in 2020 decided at federal level and then at the provinces, well, actually it was 2019 in KP if I remember correctly, and then the other provinces recognized that a woman's attaining property is essential for her economic empowerment and agency, but the challenges of litigation are sometimes, as Madam Rabia talked about, very, very overwhelming. The form of alternative dispute resolution, which has been oft quoted and brought up in the justice system in Pakistan, was brought to fore with the Ombudspersons on Sexual Harassment and the Ombudspersons departments, which performed exceptionally well. It was decided to expand their ambit to look at women's rights and property in order to provide women an alternative, easier, expeditious system to cater to their specific needs. We have invited all of them here today, as well as with the commissions, the Sindh Commission on Human Rights and the National Commission on Human Rights, Sindh chapter, to talk about alternative dispute mechanisms, their successes and challenges, as well as Ms. Amna and Mr. Kashif, who have engaged with them. So the main force that we're looking at is, while we might be looking at substantive law under potential law reform, or whether we're looking at different interpretations of Islam through the court or rights interpretation through the courts, the enforcement mechanisms comes with bodies such as this, who now have the primary role of implementation, which is where we would be focusing on today. So, Madam Anis and Iqbal, I'd first like to ask the very first question to you. That the crux of this conference is demanding a right for a share of women's right to marital property. Within the context of Pakistan, do you feel that this is a valid question, and why so is it? Madam Anis, if I can ask you first, and Iqbal Saab after that.
क्या बताऊँ? अच्छा, थैंक यू मलिया। देखिए, बात ये है कि एलएस का शुक्रिया, आपने मुझे यहाँ बुलाया, लेकिन शीमा ने जो बात की है वो बड़ी सिग्निफिकेंट है। हम ये टग ऑफ वॉर जो भी विमेंस ह्यूमन राइट्स हैं, इक्वालिटी है, रिलीजन और द अदर रिलीजन ऑन द अदर हैंड, ये कब से चल रही है। मैं मानती हूँ कि अपने वक्त में इस्लाम ने बहुत राइट्स दिए थे, लेकिन ये सवाल जो मैं करना चाहती हूँ वो विद इन ह्यूमन राइट्स फ्रेमवर्क में करना चाहती हूँ। देखिए, मैं एक बात ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि हमने एक जो स्पीकर थी उन्होंने भी हवाला दिया था, ये जो एक डिबेट है कवामूना रजाला अल-निसा, कि हमने और मर्दों को कवामून मुकर्रर किया है। इसमें मुझे याद है जो शुरू के स्कॉलर्स थे, जिसमें रिफत हसन और ने ये साबित करने की कोशिश की थी कि कवामून का मतलब जो है वो अथॉरिटी नहीं है, बल्कि आपके प्रोवाइडर हैं, लेकिन आगे किसी ने इसको बायन नहीं किया। और उसी सूरह निसा में आगे चल के ये है कि अगर वो आपके साथ कहीं डिसलॉयल होते हैं तो न सिर्फ उनका बिस्तर अलग कर दो, बल्कि आप उनको मार सकते हैं, मगर इस तरह मारें कि उनकी कोई हड्डी न टूटे। तो अब ये बताएं, ये राइट औरत को तो नहीं है। वो कितनी डिसऑनेस्टी या कितनी आउट ऑफ मैरिज रिलेशनशिप जो मर्द करते हैं वो औरत नहीं करती, लेकिन कहीं ये कहा गया है कि वो भी मार सकती है, उनका बिस्तर अलग कर सकती है, इस तरह कि उनकी हड्डी न टूटे। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि मैं जो बात करना चाहूँगी मलिहा, इस सवाल को ज़रूर उठाना चाहूँगी, लेकिन मैं समझती हूँ कि इसको हमें टोटली ह्यूमन राइट्स फ्रेमवर्क में करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो निकाह की बात है, निकाह इज़ अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो दो बराबर के लोगों के दरमियान होता है, दो पार्टनर्स के दरमियान है। ऐसा नहीं है कि औरत इसमें कोई कम छोटी या कम रुतबे की पार्टनर है और मर्द ज़्यादा है, तो ये उनको हक है कि वो डिटर्मिन करें। मुझे जो बहुत सारी चीज़ें निकाहनामे में खलती हैं वो ठीक है कि पहली बीवी से इजाज़त लेके आप दूसरी शादी करें, लेकिन बात यह है कि इजाज़त कौन लेता है और उसकी कितनी सज़ा मिलती है उनको, और ये क्यों है कि वो एक वक्त में 4 बीवियाँ रख सकते। फिर अगर आप एक बीवी के साथ नहीं रहना चाहते तो आप अलग हो जाए, दूसरी शादी कर ले। मगर ये क्या मर्दों की सुपीरियरिटी का एक जवाब नहीं बनता है कि आप एक वक्त में अपने पास 4 बीवियां रखना चाहते हैं? तो जब ये सारा फ्रेमवर्क हमारे पास मौजूद है तो मेरा ख्याल है कि मैं इस सवाल को सिर्फ देखना चाहूँगी विद इन द ह्यूमन राइट्स फ्रेमवर्क।
थैंक यू मलिया। मलिया हम देखते हैं कि अगर ये राइट जो प्रॉपर्टी आप बात कर रही हैं, राइट के फ्रेमवर्क में वाई राइट्स आर नेसेसरी, तो राइट्स बुनियादी तौर पे 3 चीज़ों के लिए होते हैं। राइट प्रोटेक्शन के लिए होता है, और वो आइन के आर्टिकल 25 सबसेक्शन 3 में कहा गया है कि स्टेट हैज़ टू टेक affirmative action in the legislation of a woman or a child if they need the protection. Rights are also for the empowerments, और वो आर्टिकल 35 भी आइन का और 37 भी 38 भी आपको empowerments के लिए। Rights are also for the goods as well. तो rights के legal framework में we need rights for protection, we need rights for empowerment, we need rights for fulfillment, and which is the principles of policy हमारे आईन पाकिस्तान में। अब प्रॉब्लम वहाँ प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ पॉलिसी और फंडामेंटल एक बड़ी डिबेट है, बट उनको सब्जेक्ट किया गया है प्रोग्रेसिव रियलाइजेशन एंड अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज से। एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द प्रोग्रेसिव रियलाइजेशन, दैट इज कॉन्टिजेंट के नॉन डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी होना चाहिए, नॉन रिट्रोग्रेसिव होना चाहिए, मिनिमम कंटेंट लेवल पूरी होनी चाहिए, or the equality and non-discrimination are the general principles of law which should be interpreted to for all the constitutional and statutes prevalent in the country. Ab rights are necessary because they are the springboards, they are the fountains by which you can hold your claim. Rights creates the duties, they create the entitlements, और उन एंटाइटलमेंट्स को आप लेके फिर आप अकाउंटेबल कर सकते हैं। और सिंध में आपने देखा कि सिंध चाइल्ड मैरिज रेसिडेंट एक्ट अगर 2013 का आया तो डैट इनेबल के एक फीमेल और मेल अगर बिलो 18 ईयर्स हैं और उनकी चाइल्ड मैरिज होती है तो वी एज ए स्टेक होल्डर कैन आस्क द अथॉरिटीज़ के यू आर अकाउंटेबल। अब यही लॉ अगर नहीं है दूसरे सूबों में तो यू कैन नॉट मेक देम अकाउंटेबल बिकॉज यू आर नॉट मेकिंग देम अकाउंटेबल। एंड निदा ने बात की कि सिंध इज द ओनली प्रोविंस इन पाकिस्तान अगेन कि सिंध हैज अमेंडेड द सिंध चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटी 2011 बाय व्हिच वी amended that the child abuse includes a child in marriage and they need प्रोटेक्टिव मेजर्स। और ये 2021 में सिंध में और सिंध चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटीज़ को भी ये दी गई है। अब राइट की आफ्टर द 18th अमेंडमेंट नफीसा शाह साहब और साहबा और लोग बैठे हैं, बहुत से लॉज को प्रोविंशलाइज होना है, इंक्लूडिंग बिकॉज व्हेन वी सी द स्टेटिस्टिकली प्रॉपर्टी में 8% वुमेन है, पजेस्ड एंड ओन अगर है भी तो प्रॉपर्टी रियली जीनेन कितनी % उनकी है। सो सिंध में दिस इज अ गैप विच वी विल टॉक लेटर कि सिंध में वुमेन से राइट टू इन्फोर्स प्रॉपर्टी उस लॉ को अमेंडमेंट करने की ज़रूरत है। एंड सिंध ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन विल बी वेरी हैप्पी टू वर्क विद द पार्टनर्स बिकॉज दिस इज़ अ प्रोविंशलाइज्ड लॉ। सिंध डावरी एक्ट है, उस पर हम बात कर रहे हैं। और मोर इम्पॉर्टेंटली जो निकाह नामे की डायग्नोस्टिक स्टडी की गई है, एलएस ने की है, मसावी ने की है। रिसेंटली सिंध ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन हैज़ मूव्ड अ पैकेज और एलएस की मलिया लारी साहबा आप भी थी कि इन सिंध वी आर ट्राइंग टू मेक दी निकाह नामा में अभी भी CNIC का कालम सिंध में नहीं है, अभी भी निकाह नामा हमारा स्टैंडर्डाइज नहीं है, अभी भी पॉलीगैमी में बिकॉज पंजाब में आई मस्ट अप्रिशिएट के पंजाब में मुस्लिम फैमिली लॉ ऑर्डिनेंस को आपने 2015 में अमेंड किया। आपने रूल्स को भी अमेंड किया, आपने फैमिली कोर्ट एक्ट को भी अमेंड किया. सो विद दिस पार्टनर्स वी हैड मेड अ ड्राफ्ट लॉ जिसमें पॉलीगैमी और निकाह के जो ये डेलीगेटेड राइट टू डाइवोर्स है और जो इसकी हार्मोनाइजेशन है. So we had proposed 10 points to the local government, and I'm very happy कि as soon as the assembly के structures, because standing committee बन जाती है और committees बन जाती हैं, we will engage through the administrative department. So Sindh Human Rights Commission supports this initiative कि yes, हमारे यहाँ सिंध में ये राइट बेशक वो आप उसको प्रोमोशन अभी भी हरासमेंट एक्ट भी प्रोमोशनलाइज करने की ज़रूरत है. इट हैज़ टू बी प्रोमोशनलाइज आफ्टर 18th अमेंडमेंट. बेशक आप उसको इन्फोर्समेंट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी की जुरिस्डिक्शन उसको दें. अगेन दैट्स द क्वाज़ी जुडिशियल discussion whether they have or the courts should have. We will discuss on later on, but these are the areas where in our mandate of law review, policy review, practices review, Sindh Human Rights Commission is working with partners like LS to work on for the codification of this law.
Thank you so much, Iqbal Saab. I very much appreciate the work that the Commission is doing along. But moving on from that, I'd like to turn to the Ombuds women, actually, I would say at this point, all of the Ombuds women. In the expansion of your scope to work to include women's right to property, have cases of marital property come before you, and what are the challenges that you have faced in the pursuit of this right? Mr. Chandra, may I first go to you as the first ombudsperson on this topic?
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, the first impact, which I normally say, because it's not mean I'm not a supporter of women property right, because I live in a very traditional society. I belong to a very traditional family. But you know, somehow putting the property rights to the woman ombudsperson is another challenge for everyone. Because the institution we got after a long struggle for eliminating harassment at workplace, all our 3 offices, at least 2 offices, Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we are overburdened because of our very naive and less resourced office into the big property court proceedings. Because as compared to KP, Punjab is better because they established their ombudsperson institution in 2012, and we established our office, announced in 2019. So this is the one of the challenge. Coming to the property, because we are being an institution protecting women from harassment, the protection element is already there, is basically value addition in this area. For example, because women are coming for their property right under the dower, and the one thing which we make clear to everyone because whenever we talk about the women property right and women inheritance, everybody believes this office is only meant for Muslim women. So I took up some of the cases from the Hindu community and the Christian community, and luckily we were able to get our judgment endorsed by the Peshawar High Court. So we established this precedent. This Property Rights Act is basically for all. So this is one of the, because I want to start with the positive note for this law. But the challenge for this law is because, you know, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa we already had one legislation, Women Ownership Right Act 2012. Although this law is very brief, but this law is very pointed. Some of the cultural practices or the other practices, those deprive of women from the property. So, but this Women's Property Rights Act 2019 basically explain or elaborate all the infrastructure need to be set up for the Women Property Right Acts. Because you know, when we talk about the matrimonial right, there is another grey area in Pakistani legislation system, because the cultural practices are still prevail. The women, because in our code, for the women, particularly for the married women, there are 99.99% men are here to claim their wife's right from their inherited property, but most of them, they deny right of inheritance for their own sisters. So you know, this is the one of the area which, because of our cultural practices, this is the one of the challenge when we try to go in the execution. Because you know, we are very much familiar with the system. If your general law is silent, so you have to take advantage of your special law. If the special law is silent, you can take the advantage of your general law. But under the matrimonial property rights, the Pakistani legal system lack proper legislation. Because because the current court judgments and the ombudsperson office judgments are mainly basis on the interpretation of the law and how we are getting support from the relevant legislation. For example, sometime in the case of Idar, I was talking to my friend from Punjab, because there was a case and the stepsons, they said, oh, हमारे बाप ने तो तलाक दी थी. So, you know, this is sometime they produce number of documents where you have to deal with these documents, because when the entire society, they are so pro-men in terms of financial benefit and the financial and the property rights. And the second issue, the issue of gift, where we use the word tabligh, hibba, because you know, this is basically one of the area which also where all the men, they try to give property to their daughter-in-law rather than your daughter, because they knew very well at the time of making hibba or gift deed, because their son will deal with the property. So you know that this is, if the issue of the ownership, I just want to conclude it in one of my recent example, where in the district Khyber, because in a district Khyber, in one of my order, I make this compulsory for the government, because the government is going to give the compensation to women for the land. So I put bar, no husband will receive this compensation on behalf of their wives. All the checks will be made in the name of women, whether they have their bank accounts or not. Because this is the one of the way where you are trying to create space for women in the financial institution. But somehow, most of the court judgments, whether at the Supreme Court level, whether at the High Court level, whether now with the Ombudsperson institution, mainly are personality based. If your judicial officer is sitting there and try to help out the person who is the complainant or the applicant, but the law should speak clearly. But in the Pakistani legal framework, where in the constitution, 2 of our articles ensure the right of property, and these articles don't say only the man, because the right of the property for everyone, either you are minority, if you are a woman or a man or a trans. Even I tried to take up one case of the trans as well, but again the system is still not clearly well versed on where the person can claim, and particularly under the matrimonial property right. I think unless we will get a proper law, the joint ownership, because the joint ownership demand of this law is pending almost not 75 years, at least 50 years, where a lot of women from the Pakistani women's movement and civil society institutions and the human rights movement, they are demanding for a proper spelling out what's the meaning of the women contribution in the family system. Because most of the time when you are in a family system, you get the unpaid work. और मर्द आसानी से कह देते हैं कि जी ये प्रॉपर्टी तो मैंने कमाई है, ये तो मैंने अपनी उससे कमाई है, रिटायरमेंट से, अपनी पेंशन से. Who make you able to get your pension? Because while you were on the job, she was on an unpaid job. So I think there is need to address issue of women unpaid work and how the woman will get compensation for her unpaid work. At least this property, matrimonial property issues will be the main challenge in this country. So I think we need to look with the women perspective to the matrimonial property rights. Then we can suggest some of the strategies.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chadha. Ms. Nabila, similarly, Punjab mein, a lot of I was speaking to your colleagues, they were talking about a number of cases that have come forward to you on this as well. So could you speak a little bit about the Punjab experience on dealing or responding to cases of property which relate to or come out from a marriage?
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Legal Aid Society and Musava. As you talked about, Madam and my very dear sister Rakshanda told us about the practices and the facing challenges regarding the property rights or property relating to women. I would like to share something which we are facing a lot from the law enforcement agencies. Somewhere we see the mindset, tribal areas are there, they own their issues, but what we are facing a lot from that area. I will discuss about that. That first, when we call the report from the department, from revenue offices or the deputy commissioners, they reluctant to give us report. सबसे पहला तो यही प्रॉब्लम आपको यहीं पर फेस करना है. Second, implementation of the orders is again a big challenge for us. The mindset and the deputy commissioners, because our all work from our side is relating to the law enforcement agencies, deputy commissioners, police and revenue officers. और behavior जैसे हम कहते हैं पटवारी तो खुद बादशाह होता है. तो ये चीज़ें जो हैं ये बहुत पंजाब के अंदर ये साइकी है which is different to other provinces I think so. क्योंकि इनके अपने मसाइल हैं और मैं समझती हूँ हर जगह के अपने अपने एरियाज़ और मसाइल होते हैं. और अगर हम चूँकि लाहौर the big part of the province of Punjab, we are facing so many problems from the excise and taxation department regarding their entitled document even then. जो वहाँ कब्जे में होता है, चाहे भाई है, अजीज़ है, तो वो क्लेम करता है और वो रिकॉर्ड हमें भेजते हैं कि ये प्रॉपर्टी इन्हीं की है. तो हम इसमें अगर डिक्लेरेशन नहीं आएगी तो वी कैन नॉट ट्रांसफर द प्रॉपर्टी ऑन द नेम ऑफ वुमेन. सो हमारा एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज ये भी हम वहाँ पर फेस कर रहे हैं. सो वी हैव सो मैनी डिफरेंट चैलेंजेस रिलेटिंग टू द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ वुमेन. ये एक बहुत बड़ा एक ग्रे एरिया है. और उसके बाद जो हम तीसरा स्टेप लेते हैं, ख़ास तौर पे अगर मैं बात करूँ लेजिस्लेशन के हवाले से, और आज हम मैट्रिमोनियल लेजिस्लेशन की भी बात करें, तो मैं कहती हूँ एग्जिस्टिंग लॉज की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जो है वो हर वक्त हमारे लिए बड़ा चैलेंज. वी हैव सो मैनी गुड कोडिफाइड लॉज. वी हैव वुमेन प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटी, PCSW का इंस्टीट्यूशन काम कर रहा है, चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन के इदारे हैं हमारे पास. अगर हम बात करें और देखें पूरी दुनिया में हमारे पास ऐसा कानून आपको नहीं मिलेगा. जैसे मैं इसको रेवोल्यूशनरी लॉ भी कहती हूँ. और बेशक ये अल्लाह का बनाया हुआ कानून है, लेकिन जो रियासतें और स्टेट्स जब इसको पहचान लें और इसके ऊपर लॉज लेकर आएँ तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा इनिशिएटिव है, ख़ासतौर पे वुमेन रिलेटिंग किसी भी प्रॉपर्टी के लिए। सो मैं सबसे पहले ये बिल्कुल इसमें ये कहना चाहूँगी कि ख़ास तौर पे ये इस तरह के जितने भी लॉ जो रिलेटिंग टू वुमेन, हमें उसके लिए बिल्कुल अप्रिशिएट भी करना चाहिए, एक्नॉलेज करना चाहिए अपने इदारों को, अपनी रियासतों को जिन्होंने ये कवानीन बनाए। देखें, सबसे पहले आज आप एक एफर्ट कर रहे हैं, हमने 10 साल पहले एक एफर्ट देखी जो प्रोटेक्शन अगेंस्ट हैरेसमेंट एक्ट को पास करने के। तो हमारे ये बहुत सारे ऐसे चैलेंजेस हैं और what we needed more and what we are looking forward for the new legislation as you told about and very comprehensive जो यहाँ पर आज ब्रीफिंग हुई, इट्स अ वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस और टीम ने हमारी और मैंने खुद यहाँ से बहुत कुछ सुना और सीखा भी। और बिल्कुल लेजिस्लेशन होनी चाहिए और जो हमारे ख़ासतौर पे जो हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं पहले वो इश्यूज एड्रेस होने चाहिए। तो मैं समझती हूँ ये हमारे वो मेन एरियाज़ हैं जिन पे हमें मज़ीद काम करने की ज़रूरत है। और सिंध के हवाले से मैं थोड़ी सी बात यहाँ ज़रूर करना चाहूँगी नफीसा शाह साहिबा को सामने देखकर, क्योंकि जितनी वोकल और जितने खूबसूरत अंदाज से ये असेंबली में बात करती हैं और वो वाकई हम इनसे हमेशा बड़े एडमायर होते हैं बेशक। तो मैंने अभी पूछा कि आपके पास, तो मैं चूँकि शाहनवाज साहब को जानती हूँ, वो काम कर रहे हैं, आपके पास इदारा मौजूद है और विदाउट लेजिस्लेशन हाउ द इंस्टीट्यूशन इज़ वर्किंग। मतलब मुझे नहीं ये बात समझ आई कि सिंध में ये काम हो रहा है और हम ये आज आपसे ही जानना भी चाहेंगे। और मैंने अभी बलूचिस्तान में जाने का इत्फाक हुआ, मैंने वहाँ पे भी अपना 11 पॉइंट एजेंडा दिया कि 10% इम्प्लीमेंटेशन मेन स्ट्रीमिंग में विमेन को लाने के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि उसके ऊपर इम्प्लीमेंट कराया जाए। फिर 50% अगर हम बात करें विमेन की इन दी यूनिवर्सिटीज़, उनकी हेड्स ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट विमेन को लेके आए मेन स्ट्रीमिंग में लाना है। तो बात यह है कि हमारे बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस हैं और वी ऑल आर वर्किंग फॉर। और ख़ास तौर पे मलिया को मैं बहुत इस बात पे अप्रिशिएट करना चाहूँगी कि शी हैव टेकन दिस इनिशिएटिव एंड शी आर गोइंग टू इंट्रोड्यूस अ न्यू लॉ मैट्रिमोनियल। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Harassment Act was passed in 2010 at the federal level prior to the 18th Amendment. 18th Amendment के बाद all laws, there's a difference in provincial opinions. In Sindh, they believe that we don't need a special law to re-implement existing federal level laws. So Sindh में जो है, which is why we haven't made, because if you take that thing, all of the laws will have to be repassed by the provincial assembly. So Sindh, the government of Sindh's perspective is that if it was passed and applicable in 2010, it continues to be applicable unless any other amendment was made. But coming back to the topic, and I think ये बहुत ज़रूरी बात की है कि आप सब दोनों ने बताया है कि मैरिटल प्रॉपर्टी बार बार आपके डोमेन में आती रहती है। जो कल्चरल और सोशल इश्यूज है, डिस्पाइट द डिफरेंसेस इन प्रोविंसेस एंड जियोग्राफी, उसमें चैलेंजेस बहुत आते हैं where the deprivation of women in property जो उनके नाम में पहले भी है या inherited है, much more in marital property as well, कि वो recognize की ही नहीं जाती। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ जो Enforcement of Property Act जिसमें आपको राइट मिला गया है, हथियार मिला गया है to be able to cater to them, उसमें भी कुछ challenges हैं in implementation। खास तौर पर कि अगर the higher courts and their interpretations of law and their interpretations of your role, but also implementation side to hold others accountable for their lack of coordination, collaboration or response to your departments. So with this context, Madam Fawzia, I'd like to come to you a little bit as well, to specifically expand on this a little bit further. What, in your opinion, are the benefits of inclusion of women's right to marital property under the jurisdiction of the ombudsperson? लेकिन उसके साथ साथ what changes would you specifically require in the law to be able to look at this effectively?
Thank you, Malia. I think if I back up a little bit, perhaps not everyone knows about the law itself.
Yes.
दो सूबों में और फेडरल लेवल पे एक खसूसी कानून आया था जिसे स्पेशल लॉ कहते हैं, फॉर एनफोर्समेंट एंड प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ वुमेन्स प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स। और इस लॉ के तहत जो ऑम्बड्सपर्सन का इदारा है वो डिनायल ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स ऑफ वुमेन को एड्रेस कर सकता है और ख़वातीन ओनरशिप और पोजेशन के लिए इन इदारों में आ सकती हैं वो कंप्लेंट लेके। और वो कंप्लेंट अगर उससे पहले उन्होंने कंप्लेंट कोर्ट्स में, सिविल कोर्ट में भी वो किया। नाउ फाइंड दैट ऑलमोस्ट 50% ऑफ आवर केसेस आर बीइंग सेटल्ड वंस द पार्टीज कम। वो लड़की औरत कहती है कि भाई मेरा जायदाद में लेट से हिस्सा है, वो उसके भाई भाई कहते हैं नहीं इसका नहीं है। सबसे पहली बात है टाइटल जो है उसको उसका क्लेम कोई इशू नहीं है, आप नादरा भी उस पर काम कर रहे हैं, वो पता चल जाता है। The moment the brothers find out here is an institution which agrees that she has a right to inherited property, she must get it, सीधे हो जाते हैं। 50% almost gets solved by resolution among the parties, because जैसे नहीं जी हम का क्या कह रहे हैं, हम तो मानते हैं इसका हिस्सा है, इसको कुरान ने भी दिया है, कानून ने भी दिया, हम तो दे देते हैं। It's amazing how fast the narrative changes when you have an empowered national institution or a provincial institution working on it, state institution working on it. So इसका ADR का जो possibility है वो that's very very strong. जो constraints हैं, I've talked about the legislative constraints. Law has to be expanded. I've talked about the jurisdictional complexities. हमारी ability for detailed investigation has been curtailed under the law, as well as determination of title के लिए भी. And sure, we don't have to do everything. There are things, and auction की भी. There are other institutions to do that, but some leeway is needed. तो वो amendment की ज़रूरत है. Similarly, I feel कि नादरा अगर अपना रोल ख़ास तौर पे जब हम marital property की बात करते हैं तो in polygamous marriages play करे, जिसमें वो identify करें all wives. क्योंकि एक बीवी जिसके बच्चे जवान हैं और जो एबल हैं वो तो आ जाती है क्लेम करने के लिए जब एक आदमी फौत हो जाता है, मगर बाकी जो है उनकी एयरशिप आइडेंटिफाई नहीं होती. Digitization of revenue records is fundamental. I feel 50% of your problems will go away when you have digitization of revenue record, जिसमें आपके सारे कागजात digitize हों, not just land revenue record वो जिस तरह LRMIS बना हुआ इस तरीके से. So in essence it's that, and I wanted to culminate it or end it by saying that there is some space, चाहे वो ombudspersons के इदारों के ज़रिए हो या वो खसूसी कवानीन के ज़रिए हो या even within the existing legal framework है जो कि बहुत सारे कोर्ट्स ने फैसले दिए हैं जिसमें recognition है of a woman's right created through the principle of reciprocal benefits, जिसमें recognize किया गया है कि एक औरत अगर काम करती है दिन रात एक घर में, उसको चलाती है, वो प्रोवाइडर है, प्रोटेक्टर है, वो सारा, तो उसकी एक इकोनॉमिक वैल्यू है. तो अगर उसको डिवोर्स होती है तो उसमें उसको उसका हिस्सा मिलना चाहिए. तो आई फील लाइक दिस इज़ अ गुड वे टू स्टार्ट एंड आई होप दैट वी गो फर्दर.
For sin, please don't go for the provincial legislation. Yes. Yes. No. In a tea break we will discuss, because you know the ombudsperson institution should be autonomous, and with the all hierarchy, this should be a.
Who don't understand it, sorry. There's two types of legislation that we're talking about. In 2010 at the federal level, prior to the 18th Amendment, Sexual Harassment Act passed kiya gaya. After the 18th Amendment, it was decided that women's issues, including harassment, are a provincial issue. Now, usme some governments, such as the Punjab government or the KP government, felt that they wanted to reintroduce and repass these federal laws from the provincial assemblies, which is what they did. In Sindh, they said कि हमने 2010 में law बन गया है, law अभी भी है, and unless we have a special law which says we don't accept it, or we want to make some provincial changes, we accept the federal law as it is. So Sindh has not I'm not going into that, sir. It's just completing.
Correct interpretation of law नहीं हो रही, therefore I had to jump in.
So if I can just finish and then Rukhsana Khara, can I just to clarify?
I just want to say, because why not we have one webinar, because we already exhausted our agenda today. But you know there are reasons for that purpose. I am saying that Sindh is more wiser than us because they kept 2010 with them, because they have more power, more resources as compared to the attached department like the Punjab Ombudsperson and the KP Ombudsperson.
So when the Punjab and the KP ones remade their provincial laws, they changed some of the modalities, particularly relating to appeal, if I'm correct. The appeal processes in Sindh, it still goes to the governor, whereas in Punjab and KP...
No. You know, this is basically...
Yes,
for the province, you have to go to the governor, but for the property, you have to go to the High Court. So in terms
Yes,
of in the property rights, in your case the High Court should be there. No, High Court should be there.
पंजाब में appellate authority defined नहीं है पंजाब के act.
Actually, I was just coming to that,
This
sir.
is the bad practice. This is the bad practice because every law needs your appellate forum. Your appellate forum should be clear, the one thing. The second, at what stage you are going to the appellate forum. Because without having appellate forum, this is not right way to give justice.
Yes. So just
छोटी सी बातें
I just want to complete the explanation
for
for.
much time, only two things I would like to add in.
Madam, can I just complete the explanation for everyone to understand the
मैं सिर्फ ये
context?
बात करना चाहती हूँ कि पंजाब के अंदर रिट जुरिस्डिक्शन में लोग जाते हैं। पंजाब सबसे बड़ा सूबा है, मेरे पास 16,000 एप्लीकेशन हैं, 9 डिविजनल ऑफिसेज ऑपरेशनल हैं। पिंडी का माइंडसेट काफ़ी बेहतर है रेवेन्यू साइड पे, पिंडी मुझे काफ़ी सपोर्ट मिल रही है, वहाँ तहसीलदार भी आके बैठा रहता है। लेकिन अगर हम पंजाब या साउथ को देखें तो प्रॉब्लम है, और एपिलेट अथॉरिटी पंजाब के एक्ट के अंदर अभी डिफाइंड नहीं है, ये मैं थोड़ा सा क्लियर करना चाहती थी। और एडीआर जो है मीडिएशन, ये सबसे बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस हैं कि जो हम अपने तौर पे करते हैं, जो मेरे सैकड़ों जजमेंट्स जो हैं चैलेंज हो चुकी हैं हाई कोर्ट तक।
Okay, thank you. So I was just giving the context. So at the harassment law, because Punjab and KP, everyone made their own laws. At Sindh, the 2010 law is still continuing, and the provincial ombudsperson for sexual harassment is functioning. Justice Shahnawaz Tariq. The other laws at the federal level, Punjab and KP and Balochistan had a separate law on enforcement of property for women act. Under that act, they gave an additional charge to the ombudspersons of sexual harassment to look at cases of property. And as was expanded over here, in Punjab, they have not talked about who the appellate forum is, and in KP, they have put in the High Court. Iska jo masla aa jata hai as an alternative forum is that the ombudsperson is supposed to be an independent parallel system to the courts, which is supposed to facilitate the courts. Take away cases from the courts, let them go through the ombudsperson system. जैसे हमारे tax ombudspersons हैं, other banking ombudspersons हैं, appeals from those normally go straight to the government or the chief minister. So you don't go back to the courts. What they have done with property in certain of the cases, they put in the high court. So आप court से, if I may धक्के लगाते, you go to the ombudsperson, and the minute the ombudsperson gives a decision, you go back to the court. So instead, it's becoming a little bit problematic, which is why I believe Dr. Rakshanda Naz is saying कि stay out of that system as an advice for Sindh. Okay, we talked about the positives of the ombudsperson's office taking cases of property. कि अगर वो सही तरीके से लेकर जाएं, let's say अगर वो, you have the, sensitized forum, expeditious process, but the challenges of implementation of law are there. So very specifically, in your experience, what changes, do you believe that the ombudsperson could, if resourced and implemented properly, be a good forum for property cases? And if so, based on your experiences, what changes need to be made in order to make it as effective as was originally envisioned?
So I think, thank you so much, Malia, for having me, but I think one of the main problems is that what was envisioned is not clear.
Yeah.
So the act was challenged in Punjab. I was appointed as amicus in that case, and there was no minutes from Parliament as to the statement. So the statement of objects was a couple of lines, but when I had to convince the Lahore High Court, as Ms. Fawzia Bakar has very aptly pointed out, from all sides there was this kind of conversation that this act is usurping on the powers of the High Court. And when I had to convince them that this act, the ethos of this act, or the intentions behind this act is what? It's to protect and expedite and give women a short circuit forum because they get stuck, as Ms. Javeri pointed out, for 50, 60 years in the courts. At that point, the petitioner in that case withdrew the case, and we sat with the law department to redraft. So for example, adding an appeal. You cannot have a law without an appeal. But one of the biggest problems then becomes now, both in Punjab and in the federal kind of sphere, Justice Babar Sardar and Justice Shahid Karim have struck down the Act. So they've struck down most of the operative provisions of the Act. Why? Because it's exactly this problem. The women that come to so for example, जो आपने अपना मिसाल दिया है, it's not a simple case of my father has died and I have a succession certificate, now can the property be divided? With cases of women, it's always some issue of fraud or there's some factual issue. Now the ombudsperson under the current law does not have the jurisdiction to look into matters that are factually complex. So the ombudspersons currently under the law can only look at summary matters. So what does a summary matter mean? It's effectively what a straitjacket is. So it's a simple matter. So all the women that call me up and they say, you know, we know that there's an ombudsperson in Punjab, we want to go there. I have to turn half of them away because I say actually the ombudsperson वो आपका केस सुन नहीं सकती क्योंकि it's a complex matter. And ombudsperson के पास सिर्फ summary इख्तियार है. So so effectively, if you were to give a short circuit, you are only giving a short circuit in cases where there is no dispute as to who the legal heirs are. And there's no dispute as to where the gift has been given or has it been given to exclude. Even let's say I gift a property as a father before my death to my sons. How can the ombudsperson, without a factual inquiry, prove that that gift was not a gift and it was an exclusion of inheritance? So there are all these problems, and I think that one of the main points is that neither the court nor the legislature, nobody really understands the ethos of this act. And if the law is clarified to really, say that we have enacted this to provide an, expeditious disposal, then the question arises as to, what is an ombudsperson's power? It's quasi-judicial. So then it goes into this whole separation of powers argument that I won't get into here, but then there is a whole question of which forum can address the issue. And in practicality, as Ms. Nabila has pointed out, 16,000 cases, I mean, that's a lot of cases, right? So in practicality, even 16,000 cases, you're hopping from one district to the other, and आपको ही पता है कि आप लाहौर में हर महीने आती हैं because you have to be everywhere. So even the short circuit procedure is not short, so to speak. Especially with property cases, harassment के cases तो ज़्यादा जल्दी चलते हैं. But then I guess short is 3 years in comparison to 60 years, right? And I will conclude with just, if I may, responding to Ms. Shima Kermani's point. जो आपने बात की है about feminism and the feminist stance or the human rights stance. Like, we have to be real as practitioners as to where we're practicing. So if a woman comes into me and says, "Okay, I have nothing, my husband has thrown me out after 60 or 50 years of being married to me," I will go to the court and appeal to them however I can. So if I can, now I'm in the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. I have a Council of Islamic Ideology that reviews all the laws. So I can take a feminist stance and say, no, I'm not going to look at it this way. Or I can say, okay, actually in all these countries, in Malaysia, in Algeria, in Morocco, they're using Sharia principles to empower women. So you guys should do it too. And I can do that even without the law, because there's the Quranic principle. So because they use Sharia in inheritance law, which I know is not equal, I can now, and I've been doing that in my cases, and Maliha will come on to this later. So that's how I use it to benefit.
All right, thank you.